I tell you what, I was looking over some of the literature and the concert sounds really, really interesting. Is this the first tour that's using holograms? I think it may be.
Yep, it is the first global tour. And I know there have been shows before, but this is the first global tour where a deceased artist has toured and actually toured promoting a new hit record, which was Roy Orbison, Love So Beautiful, that came out last holiday season. So, it is. It's been a giant undertaking, and it is the first ever of its kind.
So we will be hearing some brand new music, won't we, during this show?
Yes, you will. And, the crazy thing about the show is that there's several songs that my dad never actually performed live that are in this set. So we wanted this, with such a new technology and, just being groundbreaking. We really wanted the show to be new as well. And so what we did is we geared it to be reminiscent and feel like a Roy Orbison show, starting with Only the Lonely and then going into Crying the way he would for many of his shows. And then as the show goes on, then you hear songs like Love So Beautiful that he wrote with Jeff Lynne and recorded at George Harrison's house. And then also I Drove All Night, which was a big single for him as well. So it is crazy the way that new and old have met in this show.
Well, tell me a little bit about the show itself, Alex. I mean, I'm looking at Roy Orbison's hologram there standing on stage.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's really him. That must freak you out a little bit.
Not freaky, but the shocking thing about the show is how solid the hologram actually is. And it looks so much like someone just standing there. That at the very first show, which was in England, someone was mad because they said that there wasn't a hologram, and they got into an argument in the front hall with his wife, and it involved several people. We got an email describing that, which is fantastic. It just speaks of how amazing the actual hologram is.
They actually thought it was a real actor, huh?
Literally, yeah. And there's now they're using a little bit of a special effect that near the end of one of the sets, the hologram kind of poofs and disappears. And it happened in Los Angeles. And I mean, literally the oohs and ahs from the crowd was, it goes and disappears, and everyone just, they loved it. So.
Oh my goodness. I can't wait to see this. Roy Orbison, one of the better voices in rock and roll history. There's no doubt about it. He was a fabulous singer. Who's he being backed up by? He has a full orchestra.
Yep, exactly. And then there's also, is a rock and roll band, the nucleus of it. And then the orchestral part is added to it, which, like you said, my dad's voice, I feel the same way. I think he's truly amazing. And so we have those pristine Roy Orbison vocals that go along with the orchestrations and the rock band and backup singers. And there's a light show as well as a little, mini documentary that kind of some accolades for my dad. So it's a big show, and which is fitting.
What part of the show is your most favorite? Is it when the hologram disappears?
So my dad was quoted as on the Beatles tour in 1963 when a reporter was asking him how he was going to upstage the Beatles or if he was going to add something to his show. And he said, he was quoted as saying, well, the funny thing is, you see, is that my show is I sing and you watch, and that's the Roy Orbison show. And so for me, as a Roy Orbison fan, my favorite part of the show, I think, is around the second song is the song Crying, which has such a big vocal. And hearing that loud, in the theater, with the hologram, the band going, it just produced such an emotional effect. And that's what a Roy Orbison show is all about. So for me, it was the big crescendo. Halfway through Crying, my dad starts unloading the quote, big Roy Orbison boast. So that was, for me, was the big moment. So while I like the effects, it's all about that voice.
Is there anything else you would like to add, Alex?
I've been saying that the hologram show is almost like watching someone else exercise or something. There's no way you can actually get what it actually really is or how impressive it is unless you get out and do it yourself. So if you're thinking about doing this, I would recommend it. And it is a fantastic, wild new experience.